The topic for this evening, Ahimsa, the humane way. You might wonder, why is this so important? We are humans, as we all know. We're not animals. We're not plants. You understand, we are human beings. So we have a responsibility. We share this planet with many other living beings. Anyone has an idea how many living beings or species would we be sharing in this planet? Any idea? Anybody? No one has an idea? Take a guess. No? Huh? Sorry? Millions? Good guess. Nobody has a clue, huh? We are on this planet, I think you understand, right? Okay, because when I say planet, you're all looking, which planet? We are on planet Earth, right? And there are so many living species. What I'm told, I don't know if this is correct, and you can check it on internet because now information is available. There are about 1 trillion species. Not living beings, species. Living beings. Like in this room, we would be having several millions, billions of living creatures. We wouldn't know where they are. Maybe not perceptible to the eye, but there are. Now, all I'm trying to tell you is that of all these species, say if it's not 1 trillion, if it's not 12 zeros, 10 zeros, chalo, you know, how many zeros come for trillion? Doesn't matter. It's too vast a sum to even fathom how many living beings we are sharing this planet with. Okay, that's not the point. There is only one species that can make a difference to this planet, and that's the human species. No other creature can do anything except the human race. You will all appreciate, I'm sure, what was this world 50 years ago? What was this world 100 years ago? What is it today? We are progressing, phenomenally progressing. And what will be the future? You know, today they're talking about going to the moon on a pleasure trip. You've heard that, right? People are going. So it's something extraordinary. We only talk about it. Another 50 years down the line, people will be saying, this Diwali, what are we doing? Planning to go to the moon. That's how we'll be talking. Not now. Maybe children, not even children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren will be talking like that. You know, my great-grandparents didn't know anything about the moon. They'll say that. For them it was Ascharya, moon? Who goes to the moon? But another 50 years, 100 years, it will become common thing, you know, exercise. Not a big thing. Like at one time, say 50, 100 years ago, to leave the country and go is a big thing. To take a flight and go, it's a very big thing. Today, children go on their own. Nothing. But we don't have great-grandparents, not here at least. But imagine that age. They didn't understand what was travel. All I'm trying to say is, we're far from Ahimsa, but I'm trying to say that the world has progressed phenomenally. Everything is progressing so fast. Where is the human being? What sort of people are we? What are we doing to the world? See, you find people don't get along with people. You will never find that happening in the animal species. No other creature harms another creature in the world, except a human being. And the amazing part is, we call ourselves civilized. Humans fight with humans. It could be in a family, it could be in society, it could be in any place. But it's the humans who can't get along with humans. Not only that, what are we doing to the environment? What are we doing to the world around us? So there is something that we need to learn as human beings. That's why humans need to go to schools and universities. We need to learn. We need to educate ourselves. You can do it at home, you can do it from books, you can go to schools, universities. It doesn't matter, but we need to learn. And he is what she is, depending on what you have learned from childhood. That's our culture. So this sort of exercise where we remind ourselves, look, as humans we have an obligation. We must learn to coexist with people happily. That's a minimum contribution we can make. So that is why this concept of ahimsa is one of these great qualities a human being can develop. You can't educate an animal, and they don't have problems. Their life is all set. In fact, nature takes care of them. I was mentioning even yesterday, I don't know if some of you were there for the talk, that every animal born knows exactly what it must do. A carnivore knows exactly what it must do in its life. A herbivore knows exactly what it must do. Its life. Even a chick, it breaks out of her shell, it knows exactly what it must do. They don't need tutoring. They don't need to go to schools, universities to learn. But only a human being needs education. And that is why this exercise is one way of learning some good values. Because this is not taught in schools or universities. Our parents, well, some values are taught, not all, because their parents had taught them certain things, and we pass it on. And that is why whatever I'm discussing with you is not my original idea, but it comes from the Vedanta philosophy. You've all heard of the word Vedanta. How many have not heard Vedanta? Oh, you're all very wise people. What am I doing here, huh? Okay, but to understand what I'm saying, Vedanta is taken from two Sanskrit words, Veda and Anta. Do we have that? Yes. Two Sanskrit words, Veda and Anta. There you are. Veda means knowledge, Anta means end. Together, Vedanta would mean end of knowledge. Are you with me? End of knowledge. Now, some of you should think, in this forum we don't have the opportunity to talk to each other. I talk, you listen or not listen, whatever, that's your choice. But in the academy where I come from, which is close to, Pune, between Pune and Mumbai, there's a hill station, Lonavala, I'm sure most of you have heard, Malavali. That's where we are. We have an academy. There we have the opportunity to ask questions and have them answered. But today, you'll have to bear with me. You just have to listen. So, when we say Vedanta, it must strike to some of us. What do you mean end of knowledge? There's no end to knowledge. The more you learn, the more you have to learn. How can we say this is the end of knowledge? Now that is a special meaning which I'm sharing with you. When we say end of knowledge, it is the highest knowledge known to humanity beyond which there is nothing to be known. When we say Vedanta, it's the end of knowledge. It is the highest knowledge known to humanity beyond which there is nothing to be known. That is why it is referred to as ancient wisdom. Another term that is often used for this knowledge is Sanatana Dharma. These are Sanskrit words. Don't worry, I'm just mentioning it. At least after the talk, you can go and show off to some people who have not come. I told you to come. Do you know Sanatana Dharma? They say, what is that? You can give a lecture. So I'm giving you a few tips. Sanatana Dharma means eternal principles, eternal truths. They do not change with time or age. So these principles, one of them is Ahimsa. One of them. Many, many principles. We've just selected one topic for this evening. It was true in the past, hundreds of years ago. It is true today as a principle. It is important for human beings to understand and live. It is applicable to the future. World may change. Standards of living may change. But these qualities are permanent. As long as you are a human being, you've got to know these principles. You may say, what if I choose not to know? There will be problems in the world. There will be stress, strain, worry, anxiety, and all the problems humans are facing. It's all self-made. We create the problems because we don't live up to the principles. Like I said, animals don't have issues. Animals don't have stress, strain, blood pressure, blood sugar. Animals don't have. We have. Human beings. Why? Worries, anxiety. See, by the time a human reaches middle ages, an average human being reaches middle age, you got problems. I'm not saying you have problems. I'm saying if there are problems, please check. Why? Stress, strain, why? Because we don't know these values, we are not living these values, and if you choose not to live these values, you're bound to have problems. So that is why it is important that we learn this subject, Vedanta. It's not taught anywhere. While I'm telling you that, we've got some books available, important books, which you can take. You don't have to know a lot of English. Very simply written books. Anybody above the age of 15 can understand. With basic English understanding, you can read these books. What is important is not just reading. You've got to try and implement in your life. That is important. So a few ideas, if you pick up, your life, the quality of life will change. Now, before I get into the main discussion, I'm going to ask you with an example so that we understand the importance of gaining values of life. I did mention Sanatana Dharma. It's true of human beings in the past, it's true for human beings now, and it will continue to be applicable in the future. Not only that, it's universal. You can be from any country. You can belong to any race. You can follow any religion. That doesn't matter. The first and last question, you are a human being. That's it. You can be rich, you can be poor, you can be educated, uneducated. We are all humans. What does it take to be a human? That is important. We are not taught that. There's no subject telling us how to be good humans. And these principles are going to make us better humans. So I'm going to give you an example so that you understand the importance of this discussion, and whoever's interested can continue that even later with the help of the books and other programs that we have. It's a self-help. So, imagine there is a boat in water. A boat in water? You're all with me? Okay. So, a sailing boat. So, to put the sail up in a boat, what do they use? You know what it's called? A sail. How is a sail put? You understand sailing, right? How is the sail put up in a boat? What does it need? Sorry? Mast. You understand mast? It's like this. And then there's a sail. And there's a boat. You understand? Yes, no? Wow. Especially people at the back have to be careful. Because you're too far off. And as it is, I see people are coming in now, so it's going to be difficult to understand what I'm saying. People at the back, are you able to understand what I'm saying? Can you hear me, first of all? Okay. What did I just say? There is a boat in water, a sailing boat, and to put up the sail, you need a mast. Okay, not bad, not bad. We are all on the same page. Now, when the mast is tall, there's a boat, there's this mast. Will it be stable or will it topple? Okay, let's put it this way. To keep the boat stable, there's a mast, there's a boat. To keep the boat stable without tilting or falling on each side, what is necessary? Please, I'm not testing you, I'm asking you. Yes, sir. Sorry? Counterweight. Is there a name for that? Anybody knows? What is, you're right. You're right. This is common sense. You need counterweight. If there is a stall, you need something to balance, otherwise it will topple. Does anybody know what is necessary to keep the boat stable? Come on, Jalna. Say something. No, nobody has a clue? Sorry? What does it take to keep it stable? You're right. There's a name for it. Nobody goes boating here. There's no lakes. Anchor would keep the boat in a place, but it still doesn't ensure it won't topple. Okay, let me help you. Because then we will never get to Ahimsa. Ahimsa will be forgotten. Did we talk about boats? It's called a keel. Has anybody heard the word keel? Yes? So the keel, where does the keel come? Where is the keel situated? You mentioned counter. Somebody mentioned counter weight. Where? Yes? Somebody said. Huh? Who said that? Bottom. The keel is in the bottom of the boat. So you have a mast which is tall. There's a boat. But what will keep it stable is the keel at the bottom of the boat. I'm going roundabout to give you a small idea. Now, do you see the keel? Do you see the bottom of the boat? No. What do you see? You see the mast, you see the sail. But nobody sees the bottom. Yet, without the keel, without that counterweight, as the gentleman rightly said, the boat will topple. That much you are with me? Okay, not bad. Now, friends, what is happening in human life? The mast and sail represents standard of living. Standard of living? You get more money. We are earning, making money. Nothing wrong. We worship Goddess Lakshmi. Nothing wrong with money. So with money, what can you do? What can anybody do? Better homes, better cars, better clothes, better food. Money can buy you that. better holidays, better gifts for your family. All that money can buy. And that means your standard of living is getting higher and higher, must. But if you do only that, the boat will topple in some way or the other. Because every human being has a price. You say, I have principles up to a point. Most people bend for the family. You say, I wouldn't have done it, but for my family, I have to do it. You give up your principles. So, to match the standard of living, there is something that holds that boat, your personality or your life, without toppling. And that is the keel, which is not seen. That is the knowledge which is not seen. So when you sit here, I don't know what knowledge you have. Because I'm speaking, you know some knowledge is there. But what will ensure that you have a quality life? So the standard, as the standard of living goes up, the standard of life has to be solid. Counterweight. Nice term. The counter for living, the more you raise your living, the more you have to ensure you'll have principles. Otherwise, you can be bought for something. Some people are bought by material things. You sell your principles. Some people say, nobody can buy me. By emotions, you can be bought. Child has to come and say, Papa, that's enough. Finished, gone. Or Mama, For the child, anything. Some way you lose yourself. Or you may say, no money, no family. But if somebody praises your ideas, wah, kya idea, you are the best thinker, finished. You're sold. Somewhere. And that will happen if the keel is in there. Keel, the knowledge, principles. So friends, that is why I've taken so much time only to explain to you the importance of gaining knowledge. Not of business, not of computer science, not of medicine or whatever is available. We respect knowledge. Knowledge is also respected, Saraswati. We respect knowledge. It's not that we disrespect. But that by itself, what can you do with all the knowledge that you get? You've got degrees, technical knowledge, any specialization, professional knowledge. You can business knowledge. With all that knowledge that we get in the world, what can you do with that knowledge? You can only exchange it for earning a living. That's all. I'll tell you what money can do. Though I did say it in the passing. Money may be important. It is important. But there are certain things we all must understand about money, which I'll put on the screen for you. Money may be the husk of things. Husk, it preserves of many things, but not the kernel. It's not the most important thing. See, even if you wheat, there's a husk. It preserves the wheat, but what you need to consume is wheat, not the husk. So it may be the husk of many things, but not the kernel. It brings you food, no doubt, but not appetite. Medicine, it can buy you medicine, but not health. You can have money to buy all the medicine, but health is not good. You may get acquaintances. Acquaintances, see, if the important person comes, 10 people will rush behind. The day he loses power, nobody will be accompanying him. Not even his dog. Dog also doesn't go, Why? Because no power. Power, if the person has, 10 people will be going. So you could have acquaintances, but they're not your friends. You may have servants because you pay for them, but you won't get faithfulness. You can have days of joy. You can throw your money and have parties and enjoy. Days of joy, but not peace and happiness. The question is, do you sleep at night peacefully? Like a baby sleeps. You know, babies or children, before, fast asleep. And you want to feed them also, they're eating and they're sleeping. Why? They don't have worries, they don't have anxiety. Once you become an adult, all the worries, all the anxieties, can't sleep. So we've got to know. We may ask, but responsibility hai na? What to do? Everybody has responsibility. But why must you be worried and anxious? That's because you don't have the keel. If the keel of knowledge you have, you won't have these problems. So little bit of effort, little bit. See, how many of us appreciate physical health? Even to enjoy life, you need to be fit, strong. If I were to ask each one, don't worry, I'm not asking. Because when I say if I were to ask, everybody is going like this. No, I'm not asking. But if I were to ask each one, how's your health? Okay, but what? Recently back pain I got. Or it must be leg pain. Or something we get. If it's not body pain, then it's mental pain. Something each one has. Now, what is preventing each one to be fit? Get up in the morning, go for a jog, I can't say, some exercise. Keep yourself fit. The youngsters, because it's a westernized, it's more a fad. Which gym are you going? I go to this gym, and you're going to this gym. It's more a fad. Thank God for that. At least we keep fit. But if each one spends a little time after waking up, a little effort, you will be fit for the rest of your life. My father and Guru, who some of you have met, not all, he's 98 now. Till the age of 95, 1 hour of yoga, 15 minutes on the treadmill. And we have an academy, as I said, near Pune. He would go around the academy, every nook and corner, spick and span. The whole place is very, very clean and organized. He'll go himself. He was doing all that. Unfortunately, he had a couple of falls, so now he's not active. He used to drive the car. Not because he wants to drive. He wants to tell people, if I can do it at 95, why can't you people do it at 35? You're giving up this, giving up that. I can't do this, I can't do that. Because you don't want to do it. Because people don't dare, it becomes difficult. If you put in that effort, you can achieve anything. And that is something every human being can do. You can be physically fit, you can be mentally fit. And unless you have both, you don't have a life. You don't have quality life. You can have standard of living, but no quality. So friends, that is why it is important to get a few values of life, which I said is available in the books and other programs. You can help yourselves. And enrich your own lives. Have a full life, a complete life. You know, you've heard of the Upanishads, Vedas? You heard of Vedas? Yes, no? So, we didn't have a traditional start. Usually we have part, Om Sahana Vavatu, Sahanao Bhunaktu. You've heard that, right? It's a Shanti part. Shanti part, before we start any education, we do a Shanti part. In the good old days, in the Himalayas, when the Guru and the students started study, their Shanti part said, they would tell each other, may we live 100 years. May our limbs wax strong. May we be strong, to live 100 full years. What is the life today? By the time you reach middle ages, you're exhausted, you're tired. No energy. But you see your children full of energy. Why? You yourself, as a child, had energy. Now what happened? You become an adult. Thak gaya hu. Too much. We get tired. Everybody gets tired. By the time you reach home, you're exhausted after office work. And what are you doing in office? You're not lifting sacks that you got tired. You know, you're not digging something that you got tired. But why do you get tired? I've been working. It's not work that tires you. It is worries and anxieties. Worries of the past, what happened in the past, I had problems, and what will happen in the future. This drains your energy. Children don't have worries of the past, nor anxieties for the future. You'll say, that is why they're children. You yourself were like that. But human beings, if you learn these principles of life, you will slowly get rid of your worries and anxieties. So if you get rid of worries and anxieties, you can perform much better. You'll have more energy, and you will never get tired. Physical exhaustion is possible. When you've worked physically, like you go to a gym and work, see these athletes, sportsmen, you saw recently the women's team winning? Did you see what happened after, when they got the last catch, how she ran across the field? You would say, she must be tired, thak gaya, last, ho gaya. No. Even the last catch, there's a burst of energy. The more you engage yourself physically, the more energy you will get. But if you don't engage yourself, you get tired. And what tires you is the worry and anxiety. So these principles help us to have the right mental attitude. Not to be worried about the past, not be anxious about the future, and just do what you ought to do now. If you do that, you have a great quality of life. Don't forget the keel. The keel is what we need to develop. That's why I gave that example. You may forget all that I said, but perhaps you say, koi boat bola tha, some mast, something you'll remember. And that keel is what Vedanta is all about. Okay, so the concept of Ahimsa, let's get to that. There are few aspects. What is this quality Ahimsa? Why is it important? In fact, in the Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, it talks about 20 qualities of a jnani. Jnani, a knowledgeable person. It doesn't ask you, doesn't tell, have you read the Bhagavad Gita? No. 20 qualities mean, not one quality says, have you read the Bhagavad Gita? But it gives certain qualities, starting with humility. Humility, understand? If you are a person of wisdom, first thing is you'll be humble. Usually people who have knowledge are very arrogant. They feel they're slightly above everybody else. It's the opposite of a wise person. So I'm just giving you an example. And one of the qualities of a jnani is ahimsa. A jnani observes this discipline. It's a spiritual doctrine. It marks how advanced you are in the spiritual growth, in your spiritual growth. So it's very important. It's a benevolent attitude. Ahimsa is a benevolent attitude, a noble emotion, a fine trait. So Ella Wheeler Wilcox, I'm giving you some Western thinkers who have commented on this quality. So many gods, so many creeds, so many paths that wind and wind, while just the art of being kind is all the sad world needs. So many gods, so many things we do, But just the art of being kind, just be kind, is all that the world needs. American writer. So this ahimsa is a beautiful quality we need to develop. So let's understand what it is. What is this concept? First of all, it is the intention. In any action, it is always the intention that is important. Suppose, I'll prove it to you. And please, people at the back, help me when I ask questions, because you need not say, I'm quite far, I need not answer. Please participate, okay? I'm giving an example. A man puts a knife into another man's body, as a result of which the other man dies. Is this a good action or bad action? Sorry? Only the? Yes, correct, correct. See, it could be a surgeon. Suppose 15 hours he was trying to save the patient, but could not save the patient. Patient dies. You'll say, bad fellow? A poor man, he spent 15 hours. He couldn't save the patient. He tried. It's a very, very noble action. But if a fellow put the knife and took a wallet, then you say it's a bad action. So it's an action per se can never be judged. And all the time we are judging actions. In your own home you're doing it. How do we say? Mother-in-law problem. That lady always has to say, even if I do good, she will find something bad. Can't get along. I know some mothers-in-law sitting here, some daughters-in-law also sitting here, so you have to be very careful not to laugh. But it's true. It's a universal truth. Daughters-in-law can't get along. The men are happily laughing. The ladies are having problems. What do you care? You've left both wife and mother in the house. So you're all right. But if mother and wife are sitting here, then you are sandwiched. Very uncomfortable. You are constantly judging. So the daughter, the girl, wants the mother-in-law to behave like a mother. How is it possible? Mother will tolerate your nonsense. Mother-in-law will not tolerate. Therefore, she is not good. Same thing, the mother-in-law expects the daughter-in-law to behave like a daughter. She can't. That is enough to create problems in the house. So nobody looks at intention. They're only looking at action. Therefore, our judgment is wrong. So even when it comes to ahimsa, it's the intention. So people think non-killing is ahimsa. That's not true. Because as human beings, we will kill. Right now you're breathing. You're killing bacteria. When you came into this room, how many families you killed? We don't know. Of ants, of insects. We don't know. Also, when you eat live material. You can't eat stone. You have to have vegetables, minimum. It has life. But your intention is not to kill a vegetable. It's not that. Since you're a human being, you need to live on living matter. You can't live on dead matter. Not possible. But the intention is not to destroy. So germs, bacteria, while we breathe, while we cook, while we boil, medicine is what? Destroying bacteria that is harming you. That's how medicine works. So pest control. You can't say, they are also jivas, we are also jivas, so what? All full of rats in the house. Why? Ahimsa. Cockroaches are running all over the place. We won't be able to come to your home. So why do you do it? Why is there pest control? Because you can't coexist. But your intention is not to kill. So the intention behind ahimsa is non-injury, because we cannot live our lives without killing something. That we cannot avoid. but we can develop an attitude or intention of, I don't mean to hurt you. I do not want to hurt anybody. That intention is very noble. That is the first thought, concept. Intention is important. Like the young lady said, only the doer knows. Somebody said that, right? I can see you. You're sitting there. Yes, you said that, right? Only the doer knows. You're right. Only I know what my intentions are. Nobody. You may think, I'm very noble. I know what I am. You know what you are. So you better make sure your intentions are good. If you want to lead a quality life, if you want to sleep at night, if you want to be peaceful, better make sure your intentions are always good, even between mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, whoever it is. It doesn't matter. Let that lady say what she wants. Why are you contributing? Don't. So intention should always be good, right? First point. Second point. Then how do we handle if we are going to kill? Because we are going to kill. What should be the attitude? Let me cause least disturbance because I have to live on this planet. So the attitude behind Ahimsa is to cause least disturbance. That's the attitude. Because like we said, the body consumes living matter. It cannot consume dead matter. So you could go all the way and say, let me not create disturbance by my presence, by my life in this world. That is the attitude of Ahimsa. Okay? So we've got intention, we've got attitude. Third, everyone has a choice. Human beings, we have a choice. What is the choice? To live and let others live, other creatures live. Or directly or indirectly inflict harm or even destroy. That choice we have. So I said that 1 trillion species. Every other species lives in harmony. Only human beings are not harmonious. We have wars. We have conflicts. You know, you read the paper. Humans are hurting human beings. Terrible things humans are doing. No animal does that. So why are we hurting each other? We don't care. But we have a choice. Your life depends on the choices that you make. So Ahimsa is one of the choices, not to be harmful. Is a choice that you can make. I live and I should let live. I live and you die? Is that the attitude? So then it's himsic. Ahimsa is when you live and let others live, to accommodate one and all. That would be the choice you're making. So you've got intention, attitude, choice. A fourth point is the ability to identify with others. See, if you get hurt, how carefully you will take care of that body of yours. Why? It's my body. If your children get hurt, oh, everything, so careful you'll be. Because my family, my husband, my wife, my mother, my father, as long as there is a my, you're all there. The moment it's not concerning me, I don't care. So friends, to understand and be aware of the life and existence of other creatures, particularly animals, most people are unconcerned. And children are unaware the source of food. See, if I ask you, where do you get milk from? Supermarket. Supermarket, right? From where do you get it? It's an animal that is giving. Have you looked at the animal? How they treat the animals before you get the milk that you're enjoying? I don't care. As long as I get the bottle of milk. So there's so much happening in the world where humans are hurting other creatures. So to be able to identify, Paul McCartney is one of a pop singer, musician in the 60s. They're very, very popular. But he had to say something about slaughterhouses. He said, If slaughterhouses had glass walls, everyone would be a vegetarian. Have you seen an animal killed? I'm not trying to whip up your sentiments, please. Here is a classroom where we are discussing facts. Now, what you want to do is your business. I have nothing to do with it. I'm not recommending vegetarianism. I'm not recommending anything. I'm only telling you, face facts. So there are children who don't know, where do you get meat from? From the shop. But do you know the process of what happens for that meat to come to your table? They don't know. Because there is no identification. Now, the last one more point, thought, the thought behind Ahimsa. Let's think for a minute. There is no taste before the tongue. There is no taste after the tongue. Yet, for these few seconds of pleasure, you know how many animals are killed per day? About 6 billion. 6 billion, roughly speaking. I'll put it up on the screen for you. It's called Meat for Thought. I hope I'm not hurting anybody's sentiments. Whoever wants to eat meat is your business. But what I have to do is present the facts before you. Meat for thought. Why 100 billion animals die every year? Global demand for animal protein is fast growing. The most jarring statistic is that to meet this demand, 900,000 cows, 1.4 million goats, 1.7 million sheep, 3.4 million pigs, it goes on, you don't have to worry, are slaughtered daily for human consumption. This is the data as of 2021. And add to that fish that are killed in millions per day is by one estimate. We don't know the facts because we can't count. It's a rough calculation. Annually then, close to 1 billion farmed animals are killed worldwide for human consumption. I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong. But I'm going to give you a few more facts, what is happening to the world. So there are two extreme mindsets that has always been in the world. One mindset is the practice of non-killing. We should not kill anything. It's not possible to live without killing. Like we said, the attitude, I've given you that 5 points. It's not to intend to hurt. We don't want to hurt anybody. But our life itself means killing something. So let it be least, as less as possible. So otherwise, it'll be impractical. Non-killing is impractical. But non-injury, you understand the difference? Killing and injury. Don't injure. You may have to kill, but don't injure. Otherwise, if you don't understand this mindset, the other extreme mindset is mindless attitude, indifferent attitude. Worldwide acceptance of all sorts of things. See, for example, destroying the environment. Now we talked about destroying the environment, deforestation. All these problems are coming up, okay? And not to talk of massacring animals. Plus, what is happening? Human abuse. Human abuse also is growing everywhere. It's not seen much. But when a human is abused, we make a hue and cry. But animals have no voice. So they can't tell you. If they're hurt, they can't say. So we become unmindful. These are the extreme mindsets people have. One set is non-killing, which is impractical. Other is totally indifferent. I don't care. Attitude. Both will not help us. So friends, this paradox in life, we as human beings are supposed to be civilized, but we don't care. And how do we know this irresponsibility and cruelty that humans exhibit? in various aspects. So let's see some of them. See, when it comes to material or the environmental issues, we talk about deforestation, ozone depletion, all sorts of issues we have, global warming. Who created it? Humans. So there is a lawyer, James Speth. He says, I used to think that if we threw good science at environmental problems, we could solve them. But I was wrong. The main threats to the environment are not biodiversity loss, pollution, and climate change, as I once thought. But the problems, why do we have problems? He says, they are selfishness and greed and pride. Human selfishness, greed, pride. And for that, we need a spiritual and cultural transformation, something we scientists don't know much about. That's why we come back to knowledge. What he's saying is we need an American. He's saying all the science will not help us. Up to a point, yes. But why do we have growing problems? Because of human selfishness, greed, and egos. That's enough to destroy us and the environment. So friends, we have environmental problems which can be solved only by human education of higher values. That's why he says spiritual. And not to talk of physical problems, you know. At the physical level, we put birds in cages. We're not killing, but what are we doing? A bird that is meant for the skies, why do you put in a cage? And you have a parrot. In the morning you go, hello, good morning, and then you go off. Imagine if I take you and put you in a golden cage and give you food to eat alone. Would you be happy? But we're doing the same thing to animals. We don't care. How can we be happy as a people? It's not possible. Because this is the treatment we are giving to other creatures. So let them be in their natural habitat. Because you have the power to capture and put in a cage, you do it. Same thing happens to you, you will not want it. So that's why Christ said, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Do to other people or creatures as you would have them do unto you. Suppose you were in their position, how would you feel? So if you think of that, and I can't even, there's so many examples I can give where humans inflict pain on other creatures for their vanity. I'm scared to tell you all this, but one day I'm here, so I'll run away tomorrow. It's okay. You know, silk, how they make silk? Huh? Thousands of silkworms, live silkworms, are put into boiling water to kill the worm and get the yarn for a silk sari. Not to talk of the West where they wear fur coats. I mean, it's unimaginable. Perfume, clothing, accessories. They have handbags made of crocodile skin, snake skin. You have no idea how they get it. It's just human vanity. Nobody cares. So this is at the physical level harm. At the emotional level, when one is self-centered, hurtful, careless. See, you can talk to somebody. The tongue is stronger than a sword. So how hurtful are you to other people? You insult somebody, you hurt somebody. That person goes through a lot of emotional pain. Do you care? So again, I'm not whipping up your emotions, but this is the way we hurt others. By saying a harsh word. By saying something that you need not have said. So careless towards others' feelings. That's how you could harm emotionally. And intellectually, harm you could do when you're egoistic, arrogant, intolerant towards others' ideas. So these are the ways that we call ourselves very advanced and cultured, but we make these mistakes. So those, I'm not asking you to accept whatever I'm saying, but think about it, because that's going to help you understand how to make a better quality of life with this simple thought of Ahimsa. It's a beautiful principle. Now, those who are not convinced, okay, I think we're dragging it more than we need to. There are warning signs in this world. Warning signs. What are they? There's a path that we are taking ourselves to, a path of destruction. And what is it? Have you not noticed there are more natural disasters now? You see these tsunamis, hurricanes, floods. All this is happening. And we think, oh, nature is like that. We humans have caused it. There was a very interesting reading. You've heard of these wildfires? Particularly in California, in the US, one of the places. Do we have that? I'm just sharing it with you. Why are there these massive wildfires in California, and what's the solution? This is by January 2025, Hindustan Times. Wildfires that erupted in LA's Pacific places, whatever. He's saying, where does it say man-made? He says it is all man-made. Does it mention it? Where is it? According to the US National Park Service, around 85% of wildfires in the country are caused by humans. I'm not going to the details, but we humans are causing the problems because we don't understand this concept of Ahimsa. So these are the warning signs. Now when you see a wildfire, you will say, what did I do? Naturally you'll say, how am I concerned about a wildfire in California? Collectively, human beings across the world have caused it because of our indifference. You know that greed, selfishness, pride is destroying everything around us. But we have a choice to change. If we in this classroom change, the world will change. But each one will say, if I change, what will happen to the world? I'm one person. Everybody's thinking like that, so nobody's changing. We got to say, look, doesn't matter if the world doesn't change. I will change. Let me start. Let me lead a proper life. If each one thought that way, the world will be different. But that's difficult. But that's the only way. So, natural disasters, drought, famines, forest fires, all this is man-made. This is one example I gave you. It's not me talking. Now, even diseases. See, we have problems of obesity, or we have malnutrition. What about the epidemics, the pandemics? All these will happen because we have been indifferent to this one quality called Ahimsa, right? And not to talk of self-destructive trends. See, uncontrolled minds, when we don't care, what happens? Individually, people go through depression, separation, divorce, family disputes. Not to talk of habits like gambling, smoking, drinking, drugs. All this is happening in human life, nowhere else. Because we don't care. We don't control our own minds. So uncontrolled minds lead to these self-destructive trends individually and collectively. There's warfare, conflict, terrorism, vandalism, militancy. You heard about the recent, in Paris, the Louvre, the museum, the famous museum. Yeah, you heard about it? Nobody at the back heard? Yes, we all heard. 7 minutes. And I believe one of the crowns, the precious crowns, they dropped on the road. Millions and millions of worth jewels were stolen. Only humans can do that. It's not our business to go and help ourselves. It belongs to the museum. Why does a human do it? Don't care. How much of planning would have taken place to do it? You will spend so much time to destroy somebody else's property, to take away something that doesn't belong to you. This is a typical example. This is what I meant. Self-destructive trends will take place if we don't respect these principles. And it will only increase, it will never decrease. Unless we wake up. And don't say, well, if I wake up, what will happen to the world? World will be a better place. First of all, you can sleep peacefully. And if each one commits, we can change the world. But if nobody takes a step, we are going to be destroying ourselves. We are going to create more problems for ourselves. So self-destructive trends are on the rise. So friends, in conclusion, I've given you the different aspects. First of all, the thought flow, what it is. And the extreme mindsets. Either people are fanatic about non-killing, which is impractical, or completely indifferent. I don't care, let the killing go on. Both extremes don't help. So each one's got a responsibility. And I've told you the warning signs. There are warning signs, and we must realize we are creating a problem for ourselves. So some of us got to wake up and try and pick up these higher values of life, which is going to bring us a quality life, like the keel. And we should increase our standard of living. Why not? Get more and more, but not at the cost of values. One such great value is this humane way of living, which is Ahimsa. So how do we solve the problem? The responsibility of human beings that we are. We've got to develop this ability to think. This evening, what did we try in 1 hour's time? We tried to think. Because everybody is busy from morning till night. What are you doing? Work, 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 work. Finish the work, then family, 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 family. We have no other time. You've got to stop. You've got to think. Yes, work is important. Yes, family is important. But human life as a whole, we need to look into it and make sure we identify, we respect one and all. Start with the family. Even in the family, we have problems. Individually, we have problems. So start thinking of others. Stop thinking about yourself. And in conclusion, I would share with you another thought by an Englishman, E. Carpenter. He says, if you wish to be happy, you got to stop thinking about yourself. It may be a harsh statement, but I'm sharing with you what he said. Never before could I have believed it, but I see it all now. There is no happiness unless you have clean drop thinking about yourself, but you must not do it by halves. While even there is the least grain of self left, it will spoil it all. You must just leave it all behind and vouchsafe the personality and mind that much sympathy as to any stranger, no more, no less. I know it might sound very complicated, but he's saying, how must you treat yourself like a stranger? You don't disrespect a stranger. If somebody's there, you say, please, jaiye. I know there is a certain decorum we maintain. So no harm in taking care of yourself. But where do you draw the line? We pamper ourselves. We give ourselves so much importance. And all those who make us feel important, we capture. We keep them close. Because then our egos feel better. But he's saying, if you wish to be happy, stop thinking about yourself. Then what do? Start thinking about others. Start with your family. Family usually we do, because they are feeding us, emotionally. But beyond that, where you work, your workplace, have you thought of them? Have you thought of society? Think of the country. Think about humanity. Think about other animals. Think about the environment. As long as you can accommodate everybody, you will be happy. And if you choose not to, then please understand, any problem you have, you've self-created it. So Ahimsa, that's why we say, is the humane way a human being should live. Thank you very much. Thank you.